I'm Gesho. I'm 13 years old, and I came to Israel 2 years and 4 months ago. I was one of 14,000 Ethiopians that left Ethiopia in 1991. We all arrived in Israel in only 48 hours. The airlift was called Operation Solomon. I remember when the airplane landed in Addis Ababa. Thousands of us had left our villages and towns. During the trip, we were separated from friends and neighbors. I felt good when I arrived in Israel. When we arrived at the airport, hundreds of Israelis were waiting to welcome us. They had never met an Ethiopian. They surrounded us and spoke to us in Hebrew, but we didn't understand what they were saying. I like to run in the early morning because it's quiet and the air is fresh. I started planting my garden in the beginning of summer. I planted corn, watermelons, tomatoes, and sunflowers. In Ethiopia, we had a big garden. Our neighbors and relatives used to visit us. I remember the synagogue, the school. I remember it all. Sometimes, when I think about Ethiopia, I get very emotional. 6 months ago, I started playing soccer. My gym teacher saw that I was a fast runner. And when the scout from Poel Yerushalayim soccer club came to our school, I was asked to try out for the league. And I made it.
מי ייתן לך במשחק ללוקסוס כזה? מי יגיד לך בושי מטבעת? ישר! גוף קדימה, לבוא מול הכדור.
I play striker, and I'm always trying to score a goal.
טוב גרשון. לפתוח בראש. פה להרים את הראש, שם אתם בעיטה. הלאה! שימי!
The coach says I could be a good player, and he says I have potential, but it's going to take lots of hard work. Because the team plays on Shabbat, my father was against it. My father is a religious man. When he said no, I went to my brother Benjamin and I asked him to speak to my father. He convinced my father to let me play, and I've been playing ever since. Jonathan is also from Ethiopia. We met here. He's my best friend. We go to the same school. We are in some classes together. At first, I was put in a separate class for immigrants. We had intensive Hebrew lessons. It was exciting. A big city, a new school, and so many different people. But after a while, I didn't want to be separate. I wanted to be in a regular class. Now I go to a school called Beit Hinoch.
Gesho? Gesho, דור דורוז. קול, תגיד, דור...
דורוז.
עוד פעם.
דור דורוז.
פי דליית אל כרמל. לא מבין את זה. עוד מעט נחזור אליך. עופר.
Learning Hebrew was hard enough for me. Now I'm in grade 7, and I'm starting to learn Arabic as well. Since all of us are beginning Arabic at the same time, this is one class where I don't feel at a disadvantage. But I do have my problems.
Gesho, בית דוד בירושלים.
דאר ירושלים.
תקשיב גשו, רק רגע אחד. בית דוד. דאר דאוד בירושלים.
ירושלים על קודס.
פי אורשלים על קודס. תגיד. פי...
ירושלים על קודס.
יופי.
In Ethiopia, I had to leave school in grade 6 to help my father on the farm. That was my older brother's job. But when Benjamin was only 15, he was drafted by the Ethiopian army. My father objected. When the army came to take my brother, he hid in the mountains. Many people asked me where my brother was, but I didn't tell them. I only said, he's not at home. He's in Amboba.
ודד בבית של מי? דוד. ודד זה שם, חמוד עליה, כבר 3 שיעורים אנחנו עובדים על זה. נא להעתיק. יופי, גשו, לסוף.
ודד, בית, בידר.
דאוד, שוקרן. ללמוד לבוחן שהיה צריך להיות היום, זה הכל. לא, רק מה שהיה פעם הבאה, זה הכל.
I feel close to Benjamin, but there are still parts of his story that I don't know. I know he had to hide in the mountains for many months, and when my parents found out that he could go to Israel, they provided enough money for him to go.
הלכנו. באמצע המסע מצאנו שודדים ועצרו אותנו. דיברו עם אנשים. אנשים מדריכים אותנו את הדרך. ואמרו לנו, תביא לנו את הכסף ולא נעשה להם שום דבר. בסוף נתנו להם כסף והסתדרו עם זה. אחר כמה יומיים גם מצאנו עוד פעם שודדים. ואמרו תביא את הכסף. אם לא, נהרוג אתכם. אם לא תביאו כסף, או אנחנו נשתמש ביד שלנו וניקח את כל הכסף. עוד פעם הוציאו כסף ונתנו להם. בדרך לסודן אמרו לנו המדריכים, יש 7 שעות שלוקחת דרך, 7 שעות דרך, שיכולים אין לה מים. ואמרו לנו לתפוס מים. שם חם, אין לך עץ, אתה לא יודע איפה...
זה מדבר.
כן, אתה לא יודע איפה זוהרת השמש ואיפה שוחרת השמש. רק אתה רואה את השמש למעלה ככה באמצע. ואתה ככה אמרו לנו. אז הלכנו. גמרנו את המים, חם, כל הזמן אתה מציע, יש לך אוויר ככה. חם יותר מדי.
When my brother reached the border of Sudan, he was picked up by a truck and taken to a refugee camp. There were thousands of people at the camp. They had very little water and food, and almost no medical supplies. Close to 3,000 people died, mostly children. This exodus was called Operation Moses. My brother Benjamin was lucky. He was able to leave the camp in only a few days. Benjamin was relieved when he finally arrived in Israel. At first, it was hard for Benjamin. He was placed in a residential school. He missed the family in Ethiopia, and he was very lonely. Through the 7 years of separation, he sent us many letters. When my sister read the letters, she cried. It was very sad. Now things are going well for Benjamin. He has already served in the Israeli army, and now he works as a policeman. I too had problems when I arrived in Israel with my family. Everything was so different. I felt safe and comfortable while in school with my friends, but outside, on the bus, or in the market, or taking a walk alone, I would feel so self-conscious and uneasy. Things are okay now, but sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I was still in Ethiopia. I live in a trailer park. It's a temporary community for new immigrants. My grandmother lives nearby, and she often comes to visit. We'll live here until we are able to support ourselves. Life in Israel is very different. In Humblebau, we didn't have any water in the house. My mother had to fetch water from a well. We would help her. There was no electricity either. Now we have everything in the home. Things have really changed a lot. I spend most of my free time trying to improve my game. Benjamin says soccer is not enough. Even if you become a professional player, you can't always depend on it. I know, if I want to get ahead, I have to do well in school. Ohad is a university student who comes to our community twice a week. He's a volunteer tutor. He's helping me catch up in science.
נכון שרואים כוכב נופל? כן, יש אנשים שהכוכב נופל. לא יודע,
מבקשים משאלה.
כן.
כן. אז הכוכב הזה שנופל זה לא כוכב באמת. זה גוש, זה חומר.
כן.
כזה גוש גדול. שהוא נכנס מסביב לכדור הארץ, יש מה שנקרא אטמוספירה. נגיד, יש כזה גוש סלע גדול ששט בשמיים, ואז הוא מתקרב לכדור הארץ, מתקרב, כשהוא מגיע קצת קרוב, אז הוא מתחיל להימשך. אז הוא נמשך, ואז פתאום הוא נופל במהירות. נופל במהירות בגלל המשיכה של כדור הארץ, ואז הוא נשרף. בגלל המהירות הגדולה, נכון, נגיד שאתה רץ מהר, אז הגוף שלך מתחמם. אז אותו דבר. אבל פה המהירות כל כך גדולה, שהוא ממש נשרף. והשריפה הזאת שלו נראית לנו כמו...
If there is anything I don't understand, he really explains it to me. He's a great guy. When I first came here, I couldn't believe how many stores there were and how many things you could buy. There's so much, it's hard to choose.
חנוך לזעוק איתה, הכדורגל, הרגל השנייה. בסדר? כן?
Benjamin has been paying for all my equipment. He says that when I'm famous, I can pay him back. We are 9 children in my family, and with my father and mother and grandmother, we are 12. Ephraim is 19, Kebab 17, my cousin Atko is 21, there is my grandmother, Vubelesh is 15, I'm 13, Adana 11, Amare is 9, Rachel is 6, and Simcha is 1 year and 1 month old. Simcha was born in Israel. We can only get together on the weekends because some of us live at a boarding school during the week and some of us work. But we take interest in how everyone else is getting on. My mother always seems to know how we're getting on. When Adana's teacher sends home a bad report, my mother questions him about his schoolwork.
የትኛው ጠቃሚ ትምህርት አለው?
ኮፊ ምን መሰለህ? ኢትዮጵያ ብቻ ነው የማርበት።
ኢትዮጵያ አሁን የምትማሪበት
አሁን የምማርበት እስራኤልም ጭምር ስላለው ኢትዮጵያ ብቻ ስለሆነ በአማርኛ ነው። አሁን ግን እዚህኛው እስራኤልም ስላለው ምን ላወራ በይብልት ነው አብዛኛውን ጊዜ። ወሬ እንደው
አንተስ ምን ለመሆን ነው የምትፈልገው?
እኔ
አዎ
እንኳን ያው መማራት መካኒካ ምትባል ምክሰዋለች እሷን ከጨረስኩ በሷ ስራ ካገኘው ሌላ ምንም አልፈልግም። እንደገና ደግሞ ግን መማር ፈልጋለሁ። ዩኒቨርሲቲ ተምሬ ደህና ውጤት አግኝቼ እንደገና ደግሞ ወይም ዶክተር ወይም ፕሮፌሰር ሆኜ እንዳገለግል ምኞት አለኝ። ግን እያንዳንዱ ሰው ምኞት ሊሳካም ላይሳካም ይችላል። እንግዲህ
እሱ እንዳንተ ነው
እንደው ቀጥ ነው።
አተረፈኝ ኮንቀዳ ነው።
ቆንጆ ነው። በቃ ደግሞ ብዙ ተራኮለ ትማሩ ዛሬ ሌላ ማለት
ስንት ሰዓት ነው የምትማሩ በቀን?
ሻሽ ማለት 8 ሰዓት ምን ጀምር በ9 ነው ምን ጨርስ በ5 ነው በ5 ሰዓት ተኩል። አዎ በዚህ ጽብያ መንገድ ትምህርት ቤታችን ወደዚህ ምን መለሰው በ6 ሰዓት እንገባለን። ትምህርት ቤታችን
መጀመሪያ ገባሁ ትንሾች ገባሁ ሌላ ድምግሜ እዛ ሳለፉት ትልቆች መካከለኞች አሁን መካከለኞች እንዳለው ነው። እሺ ሲነግሩኝ በጣም ጎበዝ ነህ ተጫዋች ነህ ይሉኛል። እንደዚህ ያለ
ለአንተ የሚጫወቱት ጓደኞች ሰርተው ለስራ ደሞዛቸው የበቃ ደሞዝና ምናምን ለማግኘት ይችላል? እንዴት ነው ስትጠይቃቸው መልስ ምን ሰጡ?
ያንማ እኮ እንደማንኛውም ነው እንደማንኛውም ተጫዋች ነው። ይሄን ኔር የሚባላል 10 ቁጥር እሱም ደግሞ ጎበዝ ተጫዋች ነው ይሮጣል። ሁሎች ይበልጥ ነበር። እንግዲህ ጨዋታው እኔ አንደኛ በሩጫው ኳስ ጨዋታው እንደዛው ሁለተኛው ነው ይመስለኛል። እንደዛ ነው የሚሉኝ።
አንቺስ በእነዚህ ልጆች ትምህርት ላይ እንዴት ያለ እንትን ትመለከችበታለሽ? ምን ያስለታይሻል?
ተምረው እስከሚመጡልኝ ውለው እስከሚመጡ በጣም ሀሳብ ይሰማያል። እንዴት ነው ይመጡ? ደህና ሊመጡልኝ ሲመጡ ደስ ይላል።
ተምረው ስለሚመጡ እንትን ማለት
አስባለሁ።
ግን ተምረው እንደሚያሳልፉልሽ ምን ያህል እምነት አለሽ?
ተምረው ያሳልፉልኛል ብዬ ተስፋ አለኝ። እግዚአብሔርን እለምናለሁ። ስማ ደግሞ እዛ በላይ ደግሞ እነሱ ይሰውበትና እግዚአብሔር ይሰውበት።
I feel a lot of pressure to succeed, not only for myself, but for my family. When I play against the Maccabee team, I get nervous before the game.
עושה את החימום, אתה עושה את הכל, שוערים להתחמם בצדדים. בהצלחה. זה גולן, זה קדימה.
Coach has spent extra time with me. I want to do well. I don't want to let him down. Some games, nothing seems to work. No matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to score a goal. I won't make the same mistakes again. My garden is small, but I've planted many things in it. It takes time and a lot of care. When I see my garden blooming, it reminds me of Ethiopia.